So after 20 years, a sequel to the Simpsons movie has been announced, and like good old-fashioned Simpsons memes, this was my reaction.
Why now? Why not 20 years ago?
So I want to cast your minds back to, I think it was 1998, most notably my Australian audience. You guys remember Cheese TV? Some of you weren't even alive in 1998, but for us 90s kids that were in the thick of the 90s, going into teenage years, Cheese TV was our jam. And the boys who hosted Cheese TV, I remember during one episode, they announced that a Simpsons movie was in the works. Not only that, if you guys remember Disney Adventures, there was an article saying a Simpsons movie was also in the works. Fast forward to 2007, we finally get the Simpsons movie. My thoughts on it, I actually really dug it. I thought it was the best Simpsons movie we could get at the time. At that point, the series was sort of on a downward spiral. And that's my opinion. I don't watch the latest episodes these days when they air. I am one of those golden era Simpsons fans, like most of us, especially when it comes to like the memeology of the Simpsons, whether you're on like CompuHyper Global Meganet on Facebook, Rock Bottom, and of course my friend Guy and Dando over at Four Finger Discounts. So the memeology with the golden era of Simpsons is just brilliant, and I will always be a golden era fan, from even like season 2 up to, some people cut off at like season 8. I go up to like season 12, 13, and then I usually call it a day. But going back to the original Simpsons movie in 2007, I was actually pretty impressed. I thought this is going to be a lot shitter than what I had anticipated. But I actually had a lot of fun with it. It has a lot of rewatch value. I rewatch it every couple of years, and I still love it. I think because they got some of the OG writers back, most notably John Schwartzwelder. If you don't know the legacy and the history of this person, he is a legend on The Simpsons when it came to writing episodes that are so popular and so quotable. The dude is like an enigma. Like, he doesn't really have much of a digital footprint, let alone a footprint in life. He was very aloof, but such a damn good writer. And the fact that they got him back amongst like Al Jean, Matt Groening, I think that's why the film was pretty damn good. It was pretty solid. It had the humor. It pushed the envelope like the golden era did. And I never thought we'd see a sequel. There were murmurs that a sequel was going to be announced a couple of years later when the film came out in 2007. But 20 years, like nearly 20 years later, we are getting a sequel. So it's actually going to be coming out in 2027, the 20-year anniversary. Is it one of those things where it's too little too late? I don't know how to feel about it. I was pretty happy with what we got with the first film, but seeing how much the series, again, to me, has declined, or maybe it's one of those things where I should go and visit the latest episodes, because I hear some people say, you actually should give them a chance. I think from 2007 to like 2010, when I'd watch these episodes, the writing was all over the place. The plots made no sense. You had multiple plots going on, and there was no real resolution or tying up of loose ends from what I saw anyway. So that's why I kind of switched off and stopped watching new episodes, and I just go back and watch the oldies. But as of a couple of hours ago, they've announced that a sequel is in the works, with even a teaser poster with Homer grabbing a donut. Now, there are a couple of articles out there at the moment since the news dropped, but the one I'm going to be referencing comes from Variety. So they go on to say, "Don't! Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie will return to the big screen after a 20-year hiatus. A sequel to The Simpsons movie is officially in the works at Disney's 20th Century and slated to release in theaters on July 23rd, 2027. The film has taken the place of an untitled Marvel project," okay, I didn't know that, "which has been removed from the studio's schedule. In terms of Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe, there will no longer be a new comic book installment between Avengers Doomsday on December 18th, 2026, and Avengers Secret Wars on December 17th, 2027. Disney and 20th Century haven't confirmed any plot details for The Simpsons follow-up, but shared the poster on Instagram, which features a signature pink donut and the tagline, "Homer's coming back for seconds." Again, I don't know how to feel about this. My thought process of where this sequel could go, I feel like you've got to go back to basics and push that envelope again. You can't be safe this time around. That's what I loved about the first film. It had that shock value, especially that great sequence of Bart stark as naked on his skateboard. And amongst other jokes that just landed so damn well. I think what I'm trying to say is you can't beat around the bush if you're going to do a sequel, especially after 20 years. Like, it's the epitome of no pressure, considering where the viewership is at the moment with the series, and they keep getting renewed for seasons. I think they should have ended the series a long time ago, but it still somewhat has its fans. The viewership is still there. I just feel like it's lost that spark and that magic that the series had in the 90s and early 2000s. But I think if you could wrangle up those writers that worked on the first film and even the series back in the 90s, like if John Schwartzwelder is still around and keen to pitch in some ideas, even Conan O'Brien. Some of you may not know Conan O'Brien wrote some of the most memorable episodes, including the monorail episode. He wrote that song. So if he came back, Schwartzwelder, Mike Scully, Al Jean, Matt Groening, I think there is definitely potential. Maybe if they're going to touch on the climate of today, I don't know. Maybe that's pushing the envelope way too much. But I think if you go back to basics with what made The Simpsons, especially Homer, the character of Homer to me seems so far removed from the Homer we had back in the 90s. Homer was always written as a dumb character, but now he's just like dumb. And it's just not funny. So I guess this is pretty much just like a wait and see. It's going to be very interesting to see who they get on board for the writers. Like in terms of the cast are all there. Like I know Julie Kavner, who voices Marge, her voice is sounding really like, not rough, but she's been put through the ringer since voicing Marge. And I know her bass voice sounds somewhat like Marge, but I just feel like her vocal cords would be copping a thrashing. But also given the fact that, Hank Azaria no longer voices Apu, so there's going to be no Apu in the sequel. So yeah, one side, I don't know how to feel about it. The other side, of course I'm going to be there day one when it premieres and comes out. Like, hopefully we'll get a cinematic release and not just straight to Disney+. Well, actually, no, sorry, it says in theaters the 23rd of the 7th, 2027. So there you go. I'm going to be there day one. I just think if you get a good wrangle of writers that have been there from the early days, I think we should be in good hands. But 20 years is a long time, man. So no pressure. With that being said, guys, drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on the announcement of the Simpsons sequel. What do you want to see in terms of storyline and pitch something? I don't know. You never know. You never know who's watching. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.